June 15th, 1859. The San Juan Islands, a cluster of rugged, windswept isles nestled between the United States and British Canada. These islands, blanketed in dense fir forests and dotted with small clearings, are home to a handful of settlers, American farmers and British shepherds, who live in uneasy coexistence. Borders here are blurry, tensions simmer beneath the surface, and life is a daily grind, until a pig changes everything. One shot, one squeal, and suddenly, this quiet frontier becomes the stage for warships, troops, and a near war over a single piece of pork. This is the Pig War of 1859, a bizarre chapter in history where a farm animal nearly rewrote the fate of two nations. To understand how a pig could spark such chaos, we need to go back to the 1840s. The United States and Britain have long been at odds over the Oregon Country, a vast territory stretching from modern-day California to Alaska. Both nations claim it, and tensions flare as American settlers pour west, driven by manifest destiny, while British fur traders of the Hudson's Bay Company dig in to protect their interests. In 1846, after years of brinkmanship, the Oregon Treaty is signed. It draws a border along the 49th parallel. America gets the south, Britain the north. But there's a catch. The treaty's wording is vague about the San Juan Islands, a critical waterway between Vancouver Island and the mainland. Both nations claim the islands. America says they're part of Washington territory. Britain insists they belong to Vancouver Island. By 1859, San Juan Island is a microcosm of this larger conflict. Fewer than 30 settlers live here, mostly American farmers who've arrived under the Donation Land Claim Act, which grants 320 acres to any U.S. citizen willing to homestead. They clear land, plant potatoes, and build rough cabins, dreaming of a new life on the frontier. The British presence comes from the Hudson's Bay Company, which has set up a sheep ranch on the island. They've been here since 1853, grazing thousands of sheep to supply wool to Victoria, the company's regional hub on Vancouver Island. The two groups coexist, but barely. Americans and Brits trade goods like flour and mutton, but they eye each other warily, each flying their nation's flag over their camps. Tensions are a constant undercurrent, fueled by the unresolved border dispute. Enter Lyman Cutler, an American settler who arrived on San Juan in early 1859. Cutler, originally from Kentucky, is a stubborn frontiersman trying to carve out a living. He's built a small cabin near the island's south end and planted a potato patch, his lifeline in this remote outpost. But there's a problem. A black pig keeps wandering onto his land. The pig belongs to Charles Griffin, an Irish employee of the Hudson's Bay Company, who manages the British sheep ranch on the island's north end. Griffin's pigs roam freely, a common practice in the 1850s, but Cutler's patience is wearing thin after multiple intrusions. On June 15th, Cutler snaps. He grabs his rifle, takes aim, and fires. Bang! The pig drops dead. The sound echoes across the island, and with it, the first spark of a crisis is lit. Charles Griffin hears the shot and races to Cutler's farm. He finds his pig dead and Cutler standing over it, rifle in hand. That pig was worth $100, Griffin demands, a staggering sum equivalent to a year's wage for a laborer in 1859. Cutler, unfazed, tosses him $10 in coins. "Take it or leave it," he says, turning back to his work. Griffin storms off, vowing justice. He reports the incident to British authorities in Victoria, demanding Cutlar's arrest for theft and destruction of property. The pig's death is no longer a petty dispute. It's about to become an international incident. The British response is swift. Governor James Douglas, the colonial administrator of Vancouver Island and a veteran of the Hudson's Bay Company, orders Cutlar's arrest. Douglas, known for his hardline stance against American expansion, sees this as a chance to assert British control over San Juan. He sends a message to the island: the Americans must submit to British law or face consequences. But the Americans on the island, numbering just 18 settlers, refuse to budge. They send a desperate plea to the U.S. military in Washington Territory. Protect us from British tyranny. On July 27th, Captain George Pickett arrives with 66 U.S. troops. Pickett, a fiery Virginian, who will later lead the infamous charge at Gettysburg, sets up camp on the island's south end. This is American soil, he declares, daring the British to act. The British don't back down. By mid-August, Rear Admiral Robert Baines arrives with 5 warships, the HMS Ganges, Tribune, Plumper, Satellite, and Pilots, carrying over 2,000 men, 70 cannons, and enough firepower to level the island. Baines, a seasoned naval officer with 40 years of service, anchors his fleet off San Juan's north shore. The Americans, undeterred, call for reinforcements. By late August, their numbers swell to 461 soldiers, with 14 cannons hauled in from Fort Bellingham. The two forces face off, British ships to the north, American fortifications to the south. The island's population, 18 settlers, a few sheep, 1 dead pig, and now nearly 2,500 armed men. For 3 months, the standoff drags on. No shots are fired, but the tension is palpable. The island becomes a militarized zone. British ships patrol the waters, while American troops drill daily, expecting an attack. Life on San Juan takes on a surreal quality. Soldiers from both sides, bored and restless, start fraternizing. They share meals of hardtack and mutton, play cards, and even hold joint church services on Sundays. One British officer, Captain Geoffrey Hornby of the HMS Tribune, later wrote, "We were more likely to die of boredom than bullets." By September, word of the crisis reaches Washington and London. President James Buchanan and British Prime Minister Lord Palmerston are stunned. War over a pig? Both leaders, already wary of conflict after the War of 1812, order a stand down. General Winfield Scott, a 73-year-old veteran of the War of 1812 and the Mexican-American War, is sent to negotiate for the U.S. Scott, known as Old Fuss and Feathers for his meticulous nature, meets with Governor Douglas in Victoria. They agree to reduce forces. Each side will keep just 100 men on the island. The Pig War doesn't fully end in 1859. For the next 13 years, the U.S. and Britain maintain a joint military presence on San Juan. American troops at the south, British at the north. They call it joint occupation, but it's an uneasy truce, with both sides waiting for a final decision. In 1871, the matter is handed to Kaiser Wilhelm I of Germany for international arbitration as part of the Treaty of Washington. Wilhelm, advised by a panel of experts, studies maps, treaties, and historical claims. On October 21st, 1872, he rules in favor of the United States. The San Juan Islands belong to America. The British withdraw, leaving the island to the US. The pig. War ends with no human casualties, just one pig. Today, San Juan Island is part of a national historical park, preserving the sites of the American and British camps. A small monument marks the pig's death, a quirky reminder of the time a farm animal brought two nations to the brink. The conflict, though bloodless, highlights the fragility of 19th century borders and the absurdity of pride. History is full of strange tales, and this is one of the strangest. Let's never forget the pig that almost started a war. That's this TinyTale Vault. Love this bizarre tale of pigs and pride? Like, subscribe, and hit that bell. More weird history is on the way. See you in the next tale.